My infertile sil attacked me at my baby shower and got arrested. Months later, she lost her own baby and now wants to meet my daughter. I've been married to my husband Sam, 34M, for 7 years now. We met at a mutual friend's wedding back in 2016. I was a bridesmaid, and Sam was a groomsman. We were paired up to walk down the aisle together, and there was an instant spark between us. After the ceremony, we spent the entire reception talking and laughing. By the end of the night, we had exchanged numbers and made plans for our first date. Our relationship progressed quickly after that. We discovered we had a lot in common: a love for hiking, a shared interest in true crime podcasts, and a dream of starting a family someday. After a year of dating, Sam proposed during a sunset hike at our favorite trail. 6 months later, we had a beautiful fall wedding surrounded by our closest friends and family. From the beginning, we both knew we wanted children. We started trying for a baby right after our honeymoon. At first, it was exciting. We'd joke about which of our traits the baby would inherit, my curly hair or Sam's dimples. But as months passed without a positive pregnancy test, that excitement slowly turned to worry. We tried everything to increase our chances. I started tracking my ovulation religiously, and we both made lifestyle changes. Sam quit smoking, a habit he'd had since college. I gave up my beloved morning coffee. We joined a gym together, determined to get into the best shape of our lives. But still, nothing happened. After 2 years of trying with no success, we decided to see a fertility specialist. Dr. Anderson ran numerous tests on both of us. Those weeks of waiting for results were some of the most stressful of our lives. When the results finally came back, they were frustratingly inconclusive. There was no clear reason why we couldn't conceive. Dr. Anderson advised us to keep trying and said that sometimes, these things just take time. During this period, Sam's younger sister Rachel, 29F, got married to her college sweetheart, Jack, 31M. Their wedding was a lavish affair, and I remember feeling a pang of envy when Rachel tossed her bouquet, laughing about how she and Jack would be next to have a baby. Little did I know how significant that moment would become in our lives. As our struggle to conceive continued, we started to feel isolated from our friends and family. It seemed like everyone around us was having babies effortlessly. Our social media feeds were filled with pregnancy announcements and baby photos. Each one felt like a punch to the gut. We started declining invitations to baby showers and first birthday parties, finding them too painful to attend. Finally, after 5 long years of trying, it happened. I was a week late, but I was too afraid to take a test, not wanting to face another disappointment. It was Sam who finally bought a pregnancy test and encouraged me to take it. When those 2 pink lines appeared, we both burst into tears of joy. We must have taken 5 more tests just to be sure. We decided to wait until the 12-week mark to announce the pregnancy, given our history. Those weeks of keeping our secret were both thrilling and terrifying. Every twinge or wave of nausea sent me into a panic, worried something might go wrong. But at our 12-week scan, we saw our little being bouncing around on the screen, and we knew it was time to share our joy. We announced our pregnancy at a family dinner. Sam's parents were hosting their annual summer barbecue, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity. When we shared the news, the reaction was overwhelming. Sam's mom burst into happy tears, his dad gave him a bear hug, and my parents couldn't stop smiling. It was a beautiful moment that I'll cherish forever. However, amidst all the joy and congratulations, I couldn't help but notice Rachel's reaction. While everyone else was celebrating, she remained seated, her face unreadable. When she finally came over to congratulate us, her hug felt stiff and her smile didn't reach her eyes. I brushed it off at the time, assuming she was just surprised by the news. As my pregnancy progressed, we started preparing for our baby's arrival. We converted our home office into a nursery, painting the walls a soft mint green. Sam's dad helped us assemble the crib, turning it into a whole-day event with pizza and beers, non-alcoholic for me, of course. My mom and I spent weekends scouring thrift stores for unique, vintage-inspired baby clothes. Throughout this time, Rachel's behavior continued to be odd. She rarely asked about the pregnancy, and when she did, her comments often had a negative tone. Once, when I was showing off a beautiful hand-knitted blanket my grandmother had made, Rachel remarked that it was a shame to put so much work into something that would probably just get spit up on. Despite Rachel's attitude, we tried to include her in the pregnancy journey. We invited her and Jack to our gender reveal party, where we found out we were having a girl. Rachel showed up late, barely spoke to anyone, and left early, claiming she had a headache. As my due date approached, Sam's mom offered to throw us a baby shower. We were touched by her offer and happily agreed. The day of the shower arrived, and our house was filled with friends and family, all there to celebrate our soon-to-arrive baby girl. Rachel arrived an hour late, looking visibly annoyed. She thrust a gift into my hands without a word and headed straight for the food table. Throughout the party, she made snide comments about the decorations, the games, and even the gifts other people brought. I overheard her telling Jack that the whole thing was tacky and over the top. Things took a turn for the worse when it was time to open gifts. As I unwrapped each present, thanking the giver, Rachel's face grew darker and darker. When I opened her gift, a plain white onesie, she suddenly stood up and yelled, "This is all so unfair." The room fell silent as Rachel continued her outburst. She ranted about how she had been trying to get pregnant for years, how she deserved to be a mother more than I did, and how life was so unfair. Then, to everyone's shock, she grabbed the cake knife from the table and lunged towards me. Thankfully, Sam's quick reflexes saved the day. He managed to grab Rachel's arm before she could reach me. In the chaos that followed, someone called the police. Rachel was arrested for attempted assault, and the baby shower came to an abrupt end. I was shaken to my core. The fact that my sister-in-law had tried to harm me and potentially my unborn child was incomprehensible. Sam was devastated, torn between concern for me and disbelief at his sister's actions. In the aftermath of the incident, Jack begged us not to press charges. He revealed that Rachel had been struggling with infertility and depression, and that she wasn't in her right mind. But Sam and I couldn't just let this go. We decided to proceed with pressing charges, feeling it was necessary for Rachel to face consequences for her actions. Now, Rachel is in jail awaiting trial, and our family is torn apart. Some family members think we're being too harsh and should drop the charges for the sake of family unity. Others support our decision, saying Rachel's actions were inexcusable regardless of her mental state. I can't help but feel guilty. Did I push Rachel too far by celebrating my pregnancy when I knew she was struggling? Should I have been more sensitive to her feelings? But then I remember how she endangered not just me, but my unborn child, and I feel justified in our decision. Ida for getting my sister-in-law arrested at my baby shower? Update 1, it's been a month since the baby shower incident, and a lot has happened. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It's been a challenging time for our family, and your words have been a source of comfort. Rachel's trial date was set for next month, but there have been some unexpected developments. About 2 weeks ago, Jack reached out to Sam, asking if we could meet to discuss the situation. After some hesitation, we agreed to meet at a neutral location, a local coffee shop that Sam and I used to frequent when we first started dating. When we arrived, we found not just Jack, but also Rachel's parents. Rachel's mom, Linda, 58F, immediately started pleading with us to drop the charges. She said Rachel had been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, and that she was now on medication and receiving therapy. Linda argued that jail wasn't the right place for Rachel and that she needed help, not punishment. As Linda spoke, I couldn't help but think back to the early days of Sam and Rachel's relationship. When Sam first introduced me to his family, Rachel had been warm and welcoming. We'd even formed a friendship of sorts, often going shopping together or having girls' nights with wine and rom-coms. It was hard to reconcile that Rachel was the one who had come at me with a knife. Jack then dropped a bombshell: Rachel was pregnant. Apparently, they had been going through IVF, and their last attempt had been successful. Jack said Rachel found out just days before our baby shower, but had been too emotional to process the news properly. He suggested that her hormones, combined with her mental health issues, had led to her outburst. I was stunned. Part of me felt sympathy for Rachel, understanding how overwhelming those emotions must have been. But another part of me couldn't forget the fear I felt when she came at me with that knife. I remembered the cold look in her eyes, so different from the Rachel I thought I knew. Sam and I excused ourselves to discuss the situation privately. We walked to a nearby park, the same one where we used to have picnic dates in the early days of our relationship. As we sat on a bench, the weight of the decision before us felt overwhelming. We were torn. On one hand, we understood that Rachel was going through a difficult time and that she needed help. We thought about all the years of friendship we'd had with her, the holidays we'd spent together, the inside jokes we shared. On the other hand, her actions had put me and our unborn child in danger, and we felt she needed to face consequences for her actions. After a long discussion, we decided to talk to our lawyer about the possibility of a plea deal. We didn't want to drop the charges entirely, but we were open to an arrangement that would ensure Rachel got the help she needed while also facing some consequences for her actions. When we returned to the coffee shop and shared our thoughts, Jack and Rachel's parents were visibly relieved. They thanked us profusely for being willing to consider an alternative to jail time. Linda hugged me, tears in her eyes, and for a moment I was reminded of happier times with this family. As we left the coffee shop, I felt a mix of emotions. I was still angry about what had happened, but I also felt a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, our family could heal from this. Sam squeezed my hand as we walked to our car, and I knew whatever happened, we'd face it together. The next day, we met with our lawyer to discuss our options. She advised us that a plea deal could be a good solution, potentially resulting in mandatory therapy, community service, and probation for Rachel instead of jail time. We decided to move forward with this approach. However, things took another unexpected turn when we received a call from Jack later that week. Rachel had been hospitalized due to complications with her pregnancy. The stress of the impending trial and her mental health issues had taken a toll on her physical health. Jack sounded exhausted and scared on the phone. He told us that Rachel had started bleeding and was at risk of losing the baby. As he spoke, I felt the wave of conflicting emotions. Despite everything that had happened, I wouldn't wish the pain of losing a pregnancy on anyone, especially knowing how long Rachel had been trying to conceive. Now, we're in a difficult position. The trial has been postponed due to Rachel's condition, and we're left wondering if we're doing the right thing. Are we being too harsh? Not harsh enough? It's a delicate balance between justice, compassion, and family loyalty, and I'm not sure we're striking it correctly. Sam and I have been spending a lot of time talking about our own impending parenthood in light of all this. We've started attending parenting classes, and each session reminds us of the enormous responsibility we're about to take on. It's made us even more committed to creating a safe, stable environment for our daughter. I'll keep you updated as things develop. Thank you all again for your support during this challenging time. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and the situation with Rachel has taken several unexpected turns. I apologize for the delay in updating, but things have been hectic, to say the least. First, I should mention that I gave birth to our beautiful daughter, Lily, 6 weeks ago. Despite the stress of the ongoing situation with Rachel, the birth went smoothly, and both Lily and I are doing well. Sam has been an amazing father, and we're slowly adjusting to life with a newborn. The night Lily was born was a whirlwind of emotions. My labor started unexpectedly 2 weeks early, and everything happened so quickly. Sam was incredible throughout the whole process, holding my hand and encouraging me every step of the way. When we finally heard Lily's first cry, it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. Holding her for the first time, I felt a love I never knew was possible. In those first few days in the hospital, we were in a bubble of new parent bliss. But reality soon came crashing back when we received news about Rachel. As I mentioned in my last update, Rachel had been hospitalized due to pregnancy complications. Unfortunately, despite the best efforts of her medical team, Rachel lost the baby at 16 weeks. It was a devastating blow for her and Jack, and it sent shockwaves through the entire family. I remember the moment Sam told me the news. We were in our hospital room, Lily sleeping peacefully in her bassinet. Sam's face was pale as he relayed the information he'd just received from his parents. My heart sank. Despite everything that had happened between us, I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. In the wake of this tragedy, Rachel's mental health took a severe downturn. She was admitted to a psychiatric facility for intensive treatment. Given these circumstances, our lawyer advised us that pursuing the charges at this time would likely not be in anyone's best interest. After much discussion and soul-searching, Sam and I decided to withdraw the charges. It wasn't an easy decision, and part of me still feels conflicted about it. However, seeing Rachel in such a vulnerable state made us realize that what she needs right now is help and support, not legal punishment. We made it clear to Jack and Rachel's parents that our decision came with conditions. Rachel must continue with her therapy and treatment, and she is not to have any unsupervised contact with us or Lily until her therapist deems it appropriate. They readily agreed to these terms. The family's reaction to our decision has been mixed. Sam's parents are relieved and grateful, hoping this will be the first step towards healing our fractured family. I remember the look of gratitude on Linda's face when we told her our decision. She hugged us both, tears streaming down her face. My parents, on the other hand, are worried that we're being too lenient and leaving ourselves vulnerable to future issues with Rachel. My dad, in particular, was upset. He reminded me of the fear and stress I'd experienced during my pregnancy because of Rachel's actions. It took a long conversation to help him understand our perspective. As for Sam and me, we're trying to focus on our new life with Lily. We've increased security at our home, installing cameras and a new alarm system. It might seem paranoid, but after what happened, we feel it's necessary for our peace of mind. Jack has been keeping us updated on Rachel's progress. She's still in the psychiatric facility but is reportedly making slow but steady progress. He mentioned that she's expressed deep remorse for her actions at the baby shower, though we haven't heard from her directly. I'm still processing my feelings about everything that's happened. While I'm glad we made a decision that could potentially help Rachel and heal our family, I can't shake the lingering fear and distrust. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to fully forgive Rachel or feel comfortable around her again. For now, we're taking things one day at a time, focusing on Lily and our little family. The future of our relationship with Rachel remains uncertain, but we're hopeful that with time and continued therapy, some form of reconciliation might be possible. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this situation. A lot has changed, and I feel like this might be my last post about this chapter of our lives. Lily is now 7 months old and is the light of our lives. She's starting to crawl and babble, and every day with her is a new adventure. Sam and I are exhausted but happier than we've ever been. Watching Sam with Lily reminds me every day why I fell in love with him. He's so patient and loving, always ready with a silly face to make her laugh or a soothing voice when she's fussy. As for Rachel, she was released from the psychiatric facility about 3 months ago. Her doctors report that she's made significant progress in dealing with her depression, anxiety, and grief over her lost pregnancy. She's continuing with outpatient therapy and is on a stable medication regimen. About a month after her release, Rachel reached out to us through Jack, asking if she could meet Lily. Sam and I were hesitant at first, but after discussing it with our therapist, yes, we started seeing one to help us process everything that happened. We agreed to a short, supervised visit. The meeting was uncomfortable, to say the least. It took place in our living room, with Jack and Sam's parents present. Rachel was clearly nervous and struggled to make eye contact with us. She brought a gift for Lily, a handmade blanket, and tearfully apologized for her actions at the baby shower. She explained that she had been in a very dark place mentally and emotionally, and that she deeply regretted what she had done. As Rachel held Lily for the first time, I felt a strange mix of emotions. On one hand, seeing her interact gently with my daughter brought back memories of the close relationship we once had. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the image of her lunging at me with a knife. I found myself tensing up every time Rachel moved, even though logically I knew she wouldn't harm Lily. While I appreciated her apology, I found it hard to fully accept. The memory of her coming at me with a knife is something I don't think I'll ever be able to forget. Sam seemed more willing to move towards forgiveness, but I could tell he was still guarded. He kept a close eye on Rachel throughout the visit, never straying far from where she sat with Lily. Since then, we've had a few more supervised visits. Each one gets a little easier, But there's still a long way to go before I'll feel comfortable leaving Lily alone with Rachel. We've settled into a routine of monthly visits, always with Jack present and usually at Sam's parents' house. It's neutral territory, which helps everyone feel more at ease. Jack has been incredibly supportive throughout this whole process. He's always present during the visits and is quick to remove Rachel if she shows any signs of distress. He's also been attending therapy sessions with Rachel, working on their relationship and processing their shared grief over their lost baby. As for the rest of the family, things are slowly returning to a new normal. Sam's parents are overjoyed to have the family together again, though they're respectful of our boundaries with Rachel. I can see the relief in Linda's eyes every time we all manage to be in the same room without incident. Sam's dad has taken to playing peacekeeper, always ready with a joke or a change of subject if tensions start to rise. My parents are still wary but are making an effort for Lily's sake. They've started joining us for some of the family gatherings, though I can tell they're always on high alert around Rachel. My mom, in particular, watches Rachel like a hawk whenever she's near Lily. I appreciate their protectiveness, even if it sometimes adds to the tension. Looking back on everything that's happened, I have mixed feelings. While I'm glad Rachel is getting the help she needs, I can't help but wonder how things might have been different if we had noticed her struggles earlier. Could all of this have been prevented if we had been more attentive? There are nights when I lie awake, replaying every interaction we had in the months leading up to the baby shower, looking for signs we might have missed. At the same time, I've learned a lot about setting boundaries and prioritizing my family's safety and well-being. I've also gained a deeper understanding of the complexities of mental health issues and how they can impact entire families. It's made me more empathetic, not just towards Rachel, but to others who might be struggling silently. For now, we're cautiously optimistic about the future. We're taking things slow with Rachel, always keeping Lily's best interests at the forefront. I'm not sure if our relationship with Rachel will ever be what it was before, but we're open to seeing where this new chapter takes us. Last week, we had a family dinner at Sam's parents' house. It wasn't perfect, there were still moments of awkwardness and tension, but it was the closest we've come to normalcy in over a year. Watching Rachel help Sam's mom in the kitchen or seeing her laugh at one of Jack's jokes, I caught glimpses of the sister-in-law I used to know. It gives me hope that maybe, with time and continued effort on all sides, we can build a new kind of family dynamic. As for Sam and me, this whole experience has brought us closer together. We've learned to lean on each other in new ways, to communicate more openly about our fears and hopes. Every night, as we tuck Lily into bed, I'm reminded of how lucky we are and how much we have to be grateful for. Thank you all for following our story and for your support throughout this challenging time. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. While I hope to never have to post about such a difficult situation again, I'm grateful for the community I found here. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that healing is possible, even in the most unexpected circumstances.